the youngsters, the up-and-comers. They hope they're future perfect game All-Americans, and glad to have you with us here at Chase Field. Brian Sikowski, national cross-checker, great writer, great scout, great content creator, is my color analyst in this game. My name is Darren Sutton on behalf of Perfect Game. We're certainly glad you're spending time with all of us. So, Brian, as I said, I speak in the first person a little bit selfishly because I think a lot of us have been hoping to get this game together. We see a lot of these athletes at different showcases playing for their travel teams. Heck, you see some of them even in their high school games throughout the spring. Now we put them in an All-American setting, let them play against one another. To be clear, it's not 25s against 26s. It's a mishmash. The lineup is put together. And what are your thoughts on a game like this finally happening?
It's been a long time coming, Sut. It's something that we've been excited about for a long time. It's something that I know that from the scouting, from the operations, from the media sides of the company, it's something we've always wanted to do. And this is there's no bigger week in amateur baseball anyways. We have the All-American Classic coming up on Sunday. That's always on everybody's calendar, bookmarked and circled as something that's exciting. And so now we get to offer a good look at a bunch of really good 2025s, some select really talented 2026s, and kind of preview. This is a preview. This is that middle ground. We've been doing the 13 and 14U Select Fests for a number of years. We've done the All-American Classic for 20-some years. This is the bridge. This is the one in between. Let's see how these players look. I'm sure excited to get going.
That's Eddie Zahn. He's the number 22 player in the class. We'll point out some by name. Xavier Nyans, number 11 overall out of Washington. He's an Oregon State commit. Reagan Ricken, we'll see him pitch today. He's an uncommitted athlete, a right-handed pitcher out of Great Oak High School in Temecula, California. These are some of the names, and again, you can see the mix of where these athletes are. The number one player in the 25 class, the number one player in the 26 class.
Yeah, and we watched him take BP not too long ago, and Ethan Holiday took – I mean, I looked at Jared Goodwin and said, that might have been the best BP I've ever seen in my life. It was from the very beginning. His first swing was like a 98-mile-an-hour bullet in the opposite field gap. He was working back through the middle. He was working to the big part of the ballpark. He was turning on balls at 103, 104. He's number one for a reason.
So what are you looking at today? Let us scout with you, because I think those that enjoy watching a game like this, that find it whether through live viewing or through the archive, they're passionate about this age group. So what are you scouting today?
A lot of these guys I haven't seen yet, Darren, really. Most of my job coming with the upper class stuff, and I'll see some of these guys when they play up in 17U stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of them. So I'm looking forward to getting first looks. I'm looking forward to kind of starting my book on these guys for when we move towards their draft year and we start talking about that. But based on the BP, based on the workout earlier, Darren, I am excited to watch this one.
And what I think is fun, I think sometimes those of us that have been in the business and the industry, whether it's in the major leagues all the way down to the amateur level for a long, long time as I have, I think sometimes you might water down an all-star game and you might say, well, wait a minute now, there's not a lot you can see. But I think there is. Now, again, there's no strategy. I understand that part of it. You're not going to get that. But it really, truly is like having a showcase for you scouts, yes?
Absolutely. And you see there's a number of big league scouts here. A lot of teams employ underclass scouts to, like I said, start the book on these guys. And that's what we're seeing here. And we are going to see a lot of players who are going to be in the All-American game next year or in 2 years or who are going to be drafted in the top 50 picks. This is what we're looking at, and this guy climbing on the mound, Darren, is one of them.
Yeah, Zion Theophilus, great introduction, Cincinnati, Ohio. He's from Archbishop Moeller High School. We know Coach Tim Held very, very well, plays for that Canes national team. This is an LSU commit. That's the beginnings. That's who he is. What else can you tell us about him?
It's big stuff. It always has been. This was a guy we kind of ran into at a workout showcase down in the Cincinnati area a couple years ago. He threw a bullpen. I think he was up to 85, 86, and the very first thing I did was text Jeremy Brown and said, hey, man, I got a festival guy for you here. And so it's been nothing but development since then. He may get into the mid-90s today. I think more likely sits in the low 90s, but a couple different sliders. He's got a sweeper and a gyro. Throws a splitter. There's all kinds of things to like about the way he moves, the body projection, and he's a guy that you track development, of course, once we see guys at 13 and 14. His developmentary trajectory is pointed straight up. He just keeps getting better.
What excites me about him is he's a 3.9 student in the classroom as he works on the mound, a 4.6 weighted GPA, looking behind him defensively. That's Ryan Mitchell over there, who's going to play second base. Evan Hankins is the first baseman working around the diamond. Some really talented athletes. Brady Ebel is the shortstop. Quentin Young is over there at third base out of Camarillo, California. We've known Q, as we call him, over there at third as he makes his way toward the mound for a long, long time, because he's a select festival athlete. But since we've seen him at that 13 and 14U age group, Young suddenly looks like he's gained about 30 pounds and 6 inches.
His BP was loud, obviously, as we'd expect it to be. But as he was walking back around the screen, I'm not used to looking up at many 16-year-olds.
That's Young as he walks out of your shot, number 24 on your jersey right now. You see Quentin Young over there at third base. So Brian and I are going to have fun with you today. That's the bottom line. We're not going to take this too serious. You're going to scout with Brian. You're going to meet these athletes as they get an opportunity to play. That's simply put our goal. We want you to understand who these athletes all and are, their hard work. Anthony Pack Jr. leads things off as he digs in. He's a UCLA commit out of Lakewood, California, left side of the batter's box. And away we go with the fastball. This first ever game, the high school all-star game, is underway. Plays for Garcia Parra Baseball Group, still just 16 years old. GBG, his travel team. Good fastball right in on the knuckles, 92 miles an hour.
You could see already with Theophilus, it's a vertical fastball. That's the way it moves. We got TrackMan on the board here. It's good induced vertical break, and pairing those pairs of sliders that he has with him, which we'll see, I'm sure, soon.
Anthony slightly open stance, takes a pitch up and away. You guys have seen Anthony through the years. As a very young man in the pandemic, he started playing a little bit of travel ball. He's played in 33 perfect game events and has a pretty respectable .422 on base percentage. And that's against elite players. That's travel ball. That's a .422 OBP. And he can run. He's got 12 stolen bases.
It's a combo platter of left-handed bat speed with field to hit and athleticism, like you talked about, Darren. It's kind of the whole package of what we're looking for in young left-handed hitters, young position players. You want to see him with good feel for the barrel. You want to see the body that projects to add power. No one's really concerned with how much power you have at 16. It's more about how much power are you going to have at 23. And a guy like Pack with the projection, that's a great pitch there from Theophilus.
Yeah, fastball over the inside corner, and Pack goes down on strikes. Frozen there, just a little bit of move here to grab the corner.
It's just a perfect spot. It might have been a ball with off the plate inside, but it's 16U baseball. That's a strike. That's called a strike consistently. So, yeah, good pitch in a good spot, and we are Zion has 1 strikeout already.
Luke Billings gets the call now. Meet Luke Billings. He's from Prosper, Texas. He's a Tennessee commit. He's a 21st player in the land. He's at Prosper High School. Just turned 17 years old. That breaking ball never got there.
He was just making sure our guys are awake back there. That's all.
Some of the important facts about Billings, who we have seen at 22 perfect game events. Working behind the plate. Good solid 1.9 pop times. You've seen that at a showcase.
Mm-hmm. Lots of tools to like from him. The arm strength stands out behind the plate. He's got raw power at the plate. Guy who we've seen consistently just play really well. He's always performed. Versatile guy. He's played a bunch of different positions.
79 perfect games played at all PG events. An on-base percentage of .455. He's got a pair of long balls as well during his time. Good fastball dots the outside corner. 1-2 the count. All of these pitchers just 1 inning.
Yep. And something notable about Theophilus here, it's young pitchers with big arms. When you start to see them kind of come into command, usually it goes arm side to glove side in terms of the command. Usually it's easier for you to command arm side than it is to go across your body a little bit glove side. With Theophilus, it's actually in reverse. He's showing, at least in this look, it's a little bit better glove side command than it is arm side command, which is something unique.
His sis is Vega. She's 25 years old. His dad is Tim, talking about the man on the mound, and he plays to honor his mom, who he lost at 9 years old. Good hammer. That one misses outside. Pretty good take as well. So there's already been quite a bit of adversity away from the ballpark for this young man, and the character, the classroom, the work ethic, all he's been through, that makes up who he is too. Just a little bit low.
The slider we've seen from Theophilus so far is more of the gyro variety. That's to say it's more bullet spin in terms of its shape, which means the horizontal and the vertical are both very small numbers.
Fly ball, center field. Easy chance out there. Dean Moss, the talented IMG student and Californian, puts that one away. Moss, one of the top players in the class. Love to watch Dean Moss play center field, a Vanderbilt commit.
The Florida guys on our staff, and I'm speaking specifically of Vinny and Jared here, anytime a guy goes to IMG, they try to claim that guy as a Florida guy. So I'm going to need you to fight back on that. As the West Coast guy, yeah, as the West Coast guy, that's a California kid.
This is Brock Silvers. Brock, an opportunity to get to know him on this stage. We've been excited about what we've heard about Brock. He's from Idaho, Middleton, Idaho, 2025. Brock hits it hard. Brock's on the move. Young man picking him up and putting him down. The Kentucky commit in towards second. It's a couple of bases. Hard hit baseball. Brock Silvers, his opportunity. The Aaron Judge fan stands at second.
And I don't know what Aaron Judge looked like at 16, but Brock at 6'4", 200 is something of an intimidating presence by himself. So it makes sense to pick Judge as your favorite player.
Good to see. This is a good student out there at second base. He's a 3.7 GPA. Here is Ethan Holiday, the #1 player in the land. And a beautiful pitch, a fastball over the outside corner at 90 miles an hour.
We're seeing Theophilus, he's fine. He's 90-92. I think he was up to 3. He's showing command of the fastball, kind of keeping it down in the zone. He hasn't found the slider quite yet, but the fastball's got good quality to it, and obviously with the body and the arm speed and all the kinds of projection, it's easy to see the upside.
The son of Matt Holliday and the younger brother of Jackson Holliday, who was the #1 overall pick, who has dominated thus far as a pro.
Some pretty good ball players in that family.
How much fun is it? And this is the spirited one. This is the big personality. As Ethan takes a pitch that had a little run to it and grabs the inside corner. Scout him up for us, Ethan Holiday.
It's kind of what you want it to look like, to sum it up as succinctly as possible. He's big, he's left-handed, he's got feel to hit. He has really, really strong power at such a young age. Like, it's kind of uncanny power, the ability to backspin balls up both gaps and go 104, 105 in terms of the exit velocity. Will probably be a third baseman, unlike his brother, who's a shortstop, as we know. But Ethan is bigger. He's a little bit more physical. So just a left-handed power bat who's going to play the left side of the infield and consistently performs, and that's why he's #1.
Silvers moves up to third. Tried to play it on a backhand behind home plate. Omar Cerna, the talented catcher, unable to do so. There's a lot to learn about Ethan Holiday. Obviously, you would go, if you're just going first here, the influence of his father, Matt Holiday, and what he has passed along. Being a gentleman, being respectful, taking care of your classroom work matters in the Holiday home. And then the ability to access really talented major leaguers, the good ones, the ones that want to take time, like Nolan Arenado, who these young men have had a chance to work out with. But his dad teaches them, you do a lot of listening, not a whole lot of talking. But then when Ethan gets amongst his peers, as he fouls that one off and spreads his wings just a little bit, he is a big personality.
That's 98 off the bat. That probably would have been a bomb. I just kind of casually laid a little bit and still did that. That's pretty special stuff there, Darren.
Yeah, everyone has been saying he's the more talented of the two brothers, a couple of years younger. Into the catcher's mitt it goes. A foul ball at 92 miles an hour. Cerna holds on. Fun matchup to watch there. Young man out of Ohio. Young man who's committed to go to Oklahoma State, but in all likelihood will never go to play for his uncle.
Oh, yeah. Good wait for this one.
Brian Sikowski, Darren Sutton, and you. Thanks for being with us here on Perfect Game TV as we celebrate this all-star game and an opportunity to see a really talented pitcher go to work against this lineup. We'll tell you in a moment about that talented pitcher. Give me a few names that you're excited to watch hit. I mean, they're all fun, but I'll put you to work. Give me 2 or 3.
Well, I got to shout out my Canadian in Jordan Jacob there. Big physical right-handed hitting third baseman, all kinds of power. Was at the Junior National this year, so of course, shouts out to Canada. Dean Moss took one of the louder BPs that we saw. I think he walked off his last round going 105 and 400 pull side. Xavier Nyans is a guy who it seems like every single time I see him play, he hits a bomb. So the BP was loud, the athleticism, the physicality, the strength, we all like him. And Sebastian Norman's a guy I'd like to highlight too, just watching his BP earlier. That dude is very, very physical, very strong, and he punishes baseballs. Good runner too, from what I understand.
And a nice mention of names to keep an eye on. They'll deal with Seth Hernandez. He's the #1 right-handed pitcher in the 2025 class. Goes to Corona High School. Very deliberate with his mechanics. One of the guys that I got a chance to kind of get intimate with as far as producing a feature. He's a Vanderbilt commit. He's an intriguing athlete. He was up to 95 miles an hour at Junior National.
The ease of operation combined with the strike throwing, and you see the numbers there. He's walked 4 in however many innings this year, not much at all. But the ease of the operation is the first thing that stands out, and that has been the case ever since he was throwing 81 or whatever, how long ago that was. But the balance, the athleticism, the repeatability of the delivery, the strike throwing, and now you add to that it's premium stuff. We're talking about what might be the top of the class arm here.
The defenders working behind him all around. That's Billy Carlson out there, the shortstop with a smile. Kason Cunningham is on the infield. Ethan Holiday, with those locks flowing out of his hat, is going to play third base. And over at first base is Josiah Hartshorn. And that's the infield as we get a peek of Kason Cunningham. Love that young man out of Texas.
He's fun. He always hits. He's always got a big smile on his face. Like, he's a dude that, like, every time you see him, he comes up to you to say hi. You know, just that sort of personality, that sort of mentality, I guess, along with being really good at baseball.
Trent Greenlinger is behind the plate. He is a big young man as well. Orange Lutheran plays for Eric Borba. That's his battery mate, Greenlinger, from a baseball family. Brothers play. And excited to watch him catch. But right now, it's all about the son of Steve and Dawn. Hernandez on the mound. Has played Hernandez some of his travel ball for BPA, and you know how I feel about Jared Sandler, who runs that group. That's a good man as he deals with Ryan Mitchell. Mitchell will lead things off in those black tops for the national team.
Mitchell was one of the guys that I have not seen a bunch of yet. So, you know, paying a little bit extra attention during batting practice, during the workouts, his BP was excellent. Just consistently on the barrel, was moving the ball around and hammering baseball's pull side. Kind of what you want to see.
From Germantown, Tennessee, Ryan Mitchell. Good life on that 93-mile-an-hour fastball as it disappears outside. Mitchell, nickname Hollywood, they call him. Loved his travel ball career. He said he's learned a ton from it. Tiffany and Raphael, his parents, made a lot of sacrifices for that to happen. As the breaking ball wraps around the outside corner, 1-2. His guy, if he's going to watch a guy in the big leagues, it's Jazz Chisholm. Loves watching the way he plays. The swag, he said, also the confidence and the athleticism. Beautiful pitch inside corner, 95 miles an hour.
With well above average spin for a four-seam fastball, too, getting up near 2,500. This is what we're talking about with Hernandez. You see how easy that is? And then it's just exploding out of his hand with command at 94, 95. And this is what it's supposed to look like. We're a long ways away from his draft year. We're a long ways away from all that. But when we're talking about what top-of-the-class guys look like when they're 16, this is that.
This is Jordan Jacob in the back of the batter's box. Comes up empty on his first swing. Jordan, lucky number 12 on that jersey, is, as you mentioned, a talented Canadian from Maple, Ontario, a third baseman. And when you look at the mechanics of Hernandez, and I know we watched them earlier this year at Junior National, as he's going to take a bit of his gear off, whether it be a bracelet, something there. But he was working on a turf mound at that point, and he was very deliberate with his mechanics, almost as if he was going through a pitching lesson. But I think that's a little bit who he is. Small step back. You can see the turn there. It's quite deliberate to let that arm get a chance to get up over the top and fire to the plate. Yes?
Yeah, we're talking about timing there, Darren. It's like when we talk about when we talk about hitting timing or hitter timing, there's the same thing on the mound. And it generally, this isn't as specific as it should be, but generally speaking, what you're talking about with timing from a pitcher is where is his arm when his front foot lands? Where are you at foot strike is what we call it. And generally, you want to have your arm up above your elbow at that point, your hand above your elbow on the way to the plate, on the way to releasing. You don't want it still caught back in your layback. And Hernandez is a good example of a guy with a longer arm stroke, which doesn't necessarily speak well to timing, but who is athletic enough to be on time anyways.
I'm gonna hop into the box and let you know that for hitters, even though the intent I'm guessing for Hernandez is not deception, but for hitters it makes you uncomfortable. Those feet turn into concrete just a little bit in that box, as deliberate as. And Jordan Jacob, look, this is a really talented player. He's used to being uncomfortable against velocity. The #1 player in Ontario. I mean, the #1 overall is ranked by Perfect Game. And the interesting thing, as you bragged on him earlier, he just has passed his 16th birthday.
The way they do it in Canada is a little different from us in terms of like the grad year classification / age, whatever. So a lot of the guys graduate from secondary school, not high school, secondary school, at 17, and they all have then the option to take what they call a gap year or a victory lap or whatever. So Calvin Ziegler is a good example of that. He was a guy who finished his secondary school, did his gap year, then got drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round, whatever it is. So Jacob's a guy who age-wise could be a 2026, but as a Canadian, he's a 2025, and he will have that option to take that gap year if he so chooses.
Seth Hernandez is putting on a show, by the way.
Man, I want to stop talking and just watch.
He just blew away Jordan Jacob with a riding fastball, 95-plus miles an hour. Not a roundup 95, but 95-plus. This is Jacob Kendall. There are a few better at this age group as he fouls that one off. A quick introduction. He's from St. Augustine, Florida, Bartram Trail High School. The University of Florida is where he is committed. And for Kendall, it's been a lot of success the entire time. The son of Christy and Jeff. And he's got 3 siblings at home, all of them younger. Right up on top of that plate. Look at the confidence there.
Change up there from Hernandez. See, it's a similar release to the fastball. He kind of left that one up. You don't necessarily want to leave a changeup up there, but you can see the action on the pitch and the deception.
1-2 the count. That one jumps and disappears up and away. Kendall was Perfect Game's 14U Player of the Year nationally. Battled through hand surgery, kept him off the field for 3 months earlier this year. Real quick twitch guy.
All kinds of hitting tools, too. A guy we've just seen hit up the ladder. And as he's gotten more athletic, as he's gotten stronger, the impact has come along. But this is a guy who has always hit.
Holiday made that look easy across the way. And by the way, don't overlook the fact that Kendall stayed back on that breaking ball quite comfortably. A dominating performance, though, from Seth Hernandez, the #1 right-handed pitcher in the class. And you know what? Understandably so. BP doing damage when a player's in a showcase. That's against the guys that are throwing 90s, trying to get you out, trying to find a college scholarship. Into the catcher's mitt it goes. Guys like this.
Yep. That's a tough fastball. The Mets has got an interesting release. It's kind of that lower slot is incorrect, but lower release height, which when you throw up in the zone with that fastball with as much life as he has on it, it's really difficult to pick up and even more difficult to hit.
Blaine had an opportunity to pitch for the Louisville Sting in Perfect Game 16U WWBA. That's a gauntlet event, hundreds and hundreds of teams. When he finally got his call against a 5-star squad in a key game, he went 7, struck out 7, and gave up just 2 earned runs. He went the distance. Pretty swing. Bull takes it the other way. That one is down for a base hit inside the left field line. Hurrying out front. You see the speed of Emerson. It's a couple of bags, and it's a double for the man out of Las Vegas, Bryden Bull.
That was another example, just not trying to do too much. Got a breaking ball that was a little bit up in the zone and just kind of filleted it the other way. Not hit all that hard at all, but good job to get bat on a pitch like that in a location where you're trying to protect and keep it fair, and that's a double. That'll go in the book as a double.
Gavin Fiends, San Diego show his travel team from beautiful Temecula, California. SoCal guy, in other words. He's at Great Oak High School, and he is a Texas commit. Top 20 player in the state of California.
Well-rounded player, has power in that swing. We've seen him play a couple different positions, too.
He's got a big arm. You guys put him together at the underclass All-American gathering, and he threw 95 miles an hour from the outfield. 49 perfect game games. His big coming out party came last year. He played in 26 games at PG events. 19 overall hits, 6 of them for extra bases. Runners on second and third. Nice job blocking that one up behind home plate. That's big Omar. That's Omar Cerna behind the plate. So we talk about the bat, the power game. Can he catch a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the defensive tools. It's a big arm, and a guy who's as physical as he is, you want to see kind of the movement ability, that twitch, that lateral agility. It's so important to be able to catch in today's game because everybody throws 100 with 90-mile-an-hour sliders, and you have to be twitchy to block it now. And especially if we're going to get some level of an automated strike zone, the receiving, the stealing of strikes becomes a little bit less paramount to being able to move and block balls. And so that athleticism, and I think Kyle Teal, who was just taken in the first round, is a good example of that. A smaller guy who's really, really athletic and kind of bucks the traditional trend of catchers, the physicality of them. But looking for that athleticism, looking for the arm strength, need to be able to control running games, especially now with stolen bases being back in play like they haven't been in a long time.
I'm going to think Benji Madur, the head coach at Huntington Beach High School, might be angry with me because I think when talking about Trent Grinlinger, who is hitting now, I may have sent him over to Orange Lutheran when I assigned his team. He is at Huntington Beach High School. Benji, I apologize. You hosted us on Ralphie's draft day. You made it amazing to shoot a wonderful documentary. But this is one of the heir apparent catchers to replace Ralphie Velasquez at Huntington Beach High School.
And big shoes to fill there, obviously, in Ralphie Velasquez, one of the better left-handed bats, power upside guys we've seen in the last couple of years.
Nice breaking ball, grabs the inside corner. 0-2 the count. Yeah, there's a lot of presence with Trent. We had a great chance to get to know him at the Junior National. He decommitted from Long Beach State, trying to find the proper school for him. That one skips by Omar, heads toward that backstop. Run scores, and runners move up to second and third behind with 1 out in the inning. 1-2 the count. 3-0 the score. The American team with their red jerseys trot one of those jerseys home.
And that's a good look at that sweeping slider there from Metz. Just a little bit too much out of the zone. Obviously didn't throw it where he wanted to in terms of command, but good look at the pitch there. Good look at the action and the end result.
When you ask him about who he is, and that's Trent himself in his own words, he says, I have a loud voice. I have a passion for the game. I'm a commanding leader. I'm a hustler. I have love for the game. That's what he gave himself as a scouting report. That one into the dirt. Omar can't find it. There'll be some help over there as Evan Hankins, the first baseman, trots over and grabs the baseball for him. Another run scores, and a run moves to third. 4-0 is the score. That one had teeth.
Yeah, it did. Good bite on that, and tough to get over and block that, but still gotta get there. As a catcher, it's do or die in every pitch almost, especially with a runner on third.
Full count, runner at third. Trent on the ground towards short. That will play to run, but an easy chance on across the diamond by the shortstop, Alex Harrington. Turned into an out. Harrington to Hankins. Hankins, who, by the way, is playing every inning at first base in this game.
Absolutely. And that's just not trying to do too much. Girdlinger there, like just, hey, we got a man on third. The infield's back. Let me hit a ground ball up the middle and get another run for my team. And then that's what happened.
Sean Gamble hits now. Get a chance to see Sean once more. Excited about that. Sean walked, came around, scored a run, picked up a stolen base, also moved up on a passed ball. We were talking about Sean earlier, the Cubs passion he has. It's also tough when you miss your family. Midwestern kid from Des Moines, Iowa. Really, Kyle and Christy, his parents, loves his home life, but he made that tough decision at 14 to go to IMG. He's glad he did, but he's all Midwest through and through.
Mm-hmm. Nothing but respect for that, of course, from me.
So, Brian, I'll let you think about this. He said, since January, my baseball IQ has grown tremendously because of my coaches, because of my teammates. I set out in 2023 to grow my brain as a baseball player.
Love that. You have to. You have to. And it's just, you see it nowadays, the amount of big leaguers who embrace the analytics and are doing as best they can to understand them and apply them, and the player dev systems that are really good at communicating them to players as they're trying to develop them. It does nothing but help you the more you open your mind to different things and the more you're trying to learn different things as a player.
Josiah Hartshorn. Now, this is a young man who is at Orange Lutheran, as we talked about earlier. First team All Trinity League, Rookie of the Year in that tough Trinity League. Orange Lutheran, Mater Dei, Jay Sarah. So many great schools. Rancho Santa Margarita, great baseball programs. Now, other leagues around the country would stand up and fight for their league, and I love that. But the Trinity League and those that cover baseball in Southern California will tell you, we think it's the best
in the country. It's a pressure cooker. It's a pressure cooker, and you could make the argument about a couple different leagues, up there to maybe challenge the Trinity League. But even as a guy who's, not about SoCal, it's hard for me to think of a league that is in any way better. It's a grind week in and week out.
Metz continues to work. He's got a couple of outs. He gets a visit from his infielders that come hang around for some encouraging words. Alex Harrington trots on in. Eddie Zahn, the second baseman, comes and sees him. And Metz, as Brian talked about, touched 93 at Junior National. Fastball spin rate of 2,400 at that event. Dead fish changeup spin rate of about 1,400. He's just trying to find the touch and feel, and you never know too, as it may be one of these situations where you're just trying to, where are you in your calendar as far as throwing?
100%, and there's something to be said for that. But at the same time, there's an element of, like, if you're not geared up, if you're not built up to throw, then don't. But I think that it's August. I don't think anybody's shut down yet, but. The point being, he's throwing that slider. He's trying to land it for strikes. He's had a little bit of issues with fastball command, but he's going back to the slider to try and kind of rein himself in and getting ahead with a slider to start off an at-bat. That's a good way to start.
Runner takes off towards second. Omar angry with himself that he couldn't come up throwing. Runners are on second and third. Both have moved up for the gifted Billy Carlson. Andy Wise, Carlson's high school baseball coach at Corona High School for this 2025. Lean athlete. He said, I really spent a lot of time in the weight room. Stayed flexible, but I'm trying to put on weight at this point. Carlson fouls that one off into the seats here at Chase Field. So I asked Billy, so 10 years we bump into you. What's going on in your life? He said, I hope to be in pro ball, if not the big leagues, working my way up. I will have a degree from Vanderbilt, though, and will be growing on the business side, too.
Pretty good plan of attack there.
He's got a slightly closed stance with a leg kick as he gets that foot down. Slider never got there. Got a chance to know Billy and his family pretty well at the Junior National. You have your affinity to the Michigans, the Canadas, the Ohios of the world, the Midwest. Mine is for the kids from California, Arizona. I've been here for a majority of my later part of my adult life, and this is now my home state in Arizona. Love athletes from there in California, getting to know them. Carlson paints that right field line. Toward the corner it goes, but it's foul that time.
It's not a bad plan of attack to go in that direction. Metz's stuff, the fastball, he's kind of yanking it, and he's showing that when he's not landing the slider, he's yanking it a little bit too, excuse me. So not a bad plan of attack if you're Carlson to go up there thinking going the opposite way, thinking outer third of the plate.
Metz continues to work. Out toward third, looked right into that glove, and an easy toss over to first base. Sebastian Norman, the third baseman, shoots it on across to Evan Hankins. Having a great time at Chase Field. The perfect find myself intrigued, Brian Sakowski, Darren Sutton, when a player trots to the mound or into the batter's box for that matter, and we've seen him very little, and he really hasn't found himself ranked yet because he's been seen so little, yet he has earned the right to play in a game of this level. Meet Reagan Ricken, who is that man on the mound. Now, I do see one time, Brian, where he played up in this 17U World Series, a hot event, if you will, played here in Arizona in the summer and played for Easton Prime through 92, but that's about all. He got invited here. Why?
That's why. He was the first time we'd ever seen him was at 17U World Series. 89-92, good slider, pitched well in a 3-inning look from what we saw, and that was immediately on the radar as a big, tall, lanky guy with all kinds of traits. Like, okay, we got to get this dude to a big event now. Invited him to the Underclass All-American games. He came. He was really good there. 88-90, showed the breaking ball, showed the changeup, and then, bam, invite to the All-Star game, and here he is.
Kind of exciting.
It can happen quick.
Dad had time in the Yankees organization. Dad, Ray Ricken, went to the University of Michigan, is in law enforcement. His mom is Amy, played volleyball at the University of Michigan. This is big Sebastian Norman, his foe. 6'2", 225. And the fastball, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 the count. I'm excited about both these athletes matching up here.
Contractually obligated to say go blue whenever you mention the University of Michigan.
Fair enough.
Other than that, yep.
We'll allow it. Tracy Smith will allow it, the head baseball coach there. Norman is from Springfield, Missouri. He's an Oklahoma State commit. He's a 25. The number 3 third baseman in the land in that class. A high strike, but a strike nonetheless with the breaking ball. And with all that size in that frame, he still ran a 6.5 60.
Yeah, I was watching the BP earlier here, and you'd be hard pressed to find somebody more physical, more strong in this class than Norman. He was tattooing balls in BP.
Nothing to be done going up the ladder to make that play. Gavin Feen made an effort. That is a base hit. On a pretty good breaking ball, by the way.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gyro slider, a little bit of that bullet slider. he's not quite getting it down in the zone, I think, as much as he'd like. But yet, anyways, he's thrown 2 of them. But yeah, it's got the makings of a very good pitch, along with a pretty easy delivery, and he's been up to 92. Easy to see why we quickly fell in love with this.
16 years old, Lamar Edwards. He is a Duke commit as he comes up empty. 0-1 the count on the number 4 player in the land amongst all outfielders in the class of 2025. An active travel ball player. You and your scouts have seen him at 45 perfect game events now. Pretty good fastball at 91. Grabs the inside corner.
Ricken just kind of filling it up. You know, a little bit of a bad luck hop on that first hit, but just filling it up, attacking the strike zone, slider, fastball. A guy who's uncommitted.
Big Trent working behind the plate. This is an uncommitted battery. Hey, college coaches, interested in these two?
There are a couple here. There are a couple here in the house watching. Some big boys, too.
Took that one out of the catcher's mitt. The number 12 player in the land, Lamar Edwards, who in his career at perfect game events, we told you how active he's been, but in that time, he's got a .452 on base percentage. During the 2020, when he was just getting out of youth ball, he really had a breakout year in the pandemic year of 2020. On base nearly 60% of the time. From Lake Helen, Florida. Spruce Creek High School. Great in the classroom, too. That's got to be part of the resume if you're going to commit to go to Duke. So good for Lamar. 4.3 GPA as he puts that one on the ground. They get 1, not even close, hustling up the line. A little slow roller.
Yeah, not hit hard enough to turn it over probably, but still the good actions defensively in the infield there from both third base and second base. A quick feed, accurate, turned it over quick. Just you're not going to get that guy running.
Yeah, that's Gavin Feen at third and Grady Emerson at second. Or check it, Sean Gamble's at second. How about that athleticism? Center fielder and a second baseman.
We like versatility. We like guys who can do
athleticism. Right?
Athleticism, versatility. There's so many big league teams now that they don't necessarily build their roster thinking of one-by-one positions. They're trying to build their roster thinking of players who can fill multiple roles. And, you know, you can play some third, play some second, play some left field, whatever it is, whatever the versatility ends up being, that adds value.
Well, and when the highest level, first we'll introduce Evan Hankins, the Tennessee commit, the number 1 first baseman in the land in the 2025 class. He's from Bristol, Virginia. When the highest level of baseball has some of their best players becoming versatile, and I'm not saying everyone in the big league should or will be a Swiss Army knife, but when you have Bryce Harper trying to help his team defensively, learning to play first base coming back from surgery, when you have a man who many argue may be a top 5 player in the game and maybe a future Hall of Famer, Mookie Betts, playing right field, but then short and second too. There's something to be said when your very best players are willing to do that.
100%. And Mookie, watching that guy play short, you know, it's just pure athleticism and baseball ability. And, I don't even know. You could tell me that guy doesn't even take infield and just goes out there and looks great at short, and I would believe you. I know that's not the case, but watching that guy do that, so many good athletes in the big leagues, obviously, but the way he moves, just the smoothness and the twitch and the explosiveness, there's not many better than him in terms of just pure athleticism.
Evan Hankins, an all-tournament team member at the 17U WWBA this summertime at East Cobb. That's a big, big event. 400-plus teams. You make all-tournament in that team, you've done something. He had a bunch of hits, 9 of them. Had a walk as well. Got on base at a .522 clip in that event. Big swing that time. Elevated fastball. A little bit too much. Comes up empty. First out of the inning.
It's a fastball up in the zone. You can see a little bit of that lower release height like we talk about with him. It doesn't look like he's throwing uphill, but all of a sudden the ball's at your neck and you're still swinging anyways because of that rise. He's shown a changeup. It's a firmer pitch. We saw it at 85. Turned it over pretty well.
AH3, Alex Harrington from San Diego, California, Cathedral Catholic. A really special 2026. The number 4 player overall in the class. He and his brother Hunter, 2 of the top players in the land. Both of them Stanford commits to play for Coach Esker. He's got him up for me, Mr. Alex Harrington. What do you know about him?
Yeah, it's good athleticism. We've seen the actions defensively. Good body, lots of projection there on the frame. He's getting stronger now, like as opposed to a year ago or 2 years ago. It's noticeably stronger, and that's what you want to see. But really good feel to hit. There's power coming. A chance to be a 5-tool guy.
His favorite players, the players he watches and learns from. Number 1, Trey Turner. Number 2, Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, good one there. Witt, I just saw a tweet today, Darren, maybe 20 minutes before we even started the broadcast, about how when Witt came up last year, he was not that good of a defender. It was kind of a little bit of a struggle. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is always going to be bad, but he didn't immediately impact on a positive way defensively. This year, a year later, while continuing to refine his approach, while continuing to swing and miss a little bit less, while continuing to be an offensive monster, he's now become a plus defender at shortstop. And that sort of development, I think people kind of lose track of that, is like once you get to the big leagues, you are not done developing. And Bobby Witt's done a great job of continuing to evolve and get better, and that's a good inning there for Mr. Ricken.
Yeah, Ricken, a young man who, as we said, quickly climbing up that ladder. Excited to see where he finds himself in the new rankings. It's the 5th annual 13U Perfect Game Select Festival. The top players in the class of 2028 will have it for you on Perfect Game TV. It's me, it's Jeremy Brown, and Danny Wexelman, and you from the University of Tennessee, Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And get up with us, by the way. That one is at 11 o'clock Eastern out west. Grab your coffee, watch the best 13U players in the land, and listen to a man analyze them who's, like you, passionate about that space.
Shouts out to Jeremy Brown, one of our longest tenured scouts, one of my very best friends. So hope he's enjoying Western Massachusetts this weekend, and we'll see him soon.
A little bounce around in the lineup. Ethan Holiday, who was batting in that 4 spot, gets a chance to go to work now, and a change as we get to know Nicholas Bradley. Bradley goes to work. Excited about Nicholas. Will introduce you to some of his successes and who he is as an athlete and why he's here. Nick is from Pennsylvania, Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. Abington Heights High School. Plays for the artillery travel team, Justin Carter. And an Auburn commit, Nick Bradley. I've been excited to watch him work, the son of Jennifer and Josh.
We got Holiday mic'd up down there. I'm excited to see how that comes out at the end of the day.
All right. That's awesome on social media.
Bradley, one of the few guys, one of the few arms in the 26 class who I have seen already, kind of accidentally a couple summers ago. I saw him at a 14U event that was happening simultaneous to an 18U event. But either way, one of the more exciting arms in the class in the country and at that grade level. Does it easy. The ball comes out well. That's 90 there. He's been up to 92, I think, but lots to like about the ease of operation, the ability to spin the ball, good movement on the fastball as well.
Varsity football player, varsity baseball player, and he was the starter for the varsity baseball team as Holiday draws a walk. Let's see if we get right back into order with Case and Cunningham, and we do. Yeah, Nicholas Bradley is what it says on all of the PG websites. He lets us know. I usually go by Nick for those who are closest to me. This is an all honors student too. Has done really well in all of those classes. Buries that fastball in on the hands, 90 miles an hour. 0-1 the count. We're in the 4th inning. We're at Chase Field. Brian and Darren, glad to have you with us. Team America on top of Team National 5-0 in the high school all-star game. 25s and 26s rostered together. Some of the best players in the land. Beautiful approach. Parker shoots that hole into left field, and it's a base hit. Let it travel just a bit in his stance, but hit it hard. That was 99 off the bat the other way.
Yeah, it's a great approach. That's understanding what Bradley's stuff does. That's understanding that as a left-handed hitter, he's trying to throw fastballs on the outer third of the plate that are moving away from me. So why wouldn't I just go in that direction? That's 99 miles an hour. If that's a base hit every time, the shortstop is never going to be playing in that hole against a left-handed hitter. So that's going to be a knock every time he does it.
Emerson swings through that one.
I have a college coaching buddy who every time he sees somebody hit a backside ground ball, whether it's in BP or in a game, he immediately just says that's a hit. And I don't necessarily agree with that, and I don't necessarily agree with the approach of like our best swing should be a backside ground ball or anything like that, but he has a point. If you can move a little bit and you can hit backside ground balls with some authority, like those are base hits a lot, especially as a left-handed batter. And that was a great changeup from Bradley there. We're going to talk about that. Really killed the spin down, lots of dive, and got a really empty swing from a great player in Emerson over the top of it.
Yeah, the #1 player in the 2026 class, Grady Emerson. Runner on the move and stolen base, swiped it that time. So if you want to know who Emerson watches and emulates and learns from, the answer is Brandon Crawford, as we take one more look at this on the throwdown there. He says about Crawford, I love the way he was and is as a left-handed bat with a right-handed arm like me. He always seems so calm and relaxed even in tough situations. I learned from him that you don't need to make the game bigger than it is.
Crawford, one of the, he's a guy who's, it's hard to say underrated considering like all the accolades he's had and all the success he's had, but you don't necessarily think like, all right, of the last 10, 15 years, who's the best shortstop? Breaking ball will have to sharpen up a little bit, but the feel for the changeup is really standing out.
That one buried in on the hands, good two-seam life to it. A little bit on the resume of Greenhouse as a human being. He's got a 3.7 GPA. He said, my toughest classes are Spanish and ethics, but I pushed through and did well. He also serves as an usher at his church once a month. He enjoys greeting people, making them feel welcome. That's a little bit about the human being.
Did you take ethics in high school?
I did not.
I don't think I did either. Maybe we should have.
I went to a faith-based school, so there was it wasn't a true ethics course, but a lot of values and ethics were part of our day-to-day, but it would have been an interesting class to take.
I can confidently say I took 12 years of religion in the Catholic schools.
Catholic school kid. 1-2 the count on Mason Greenhouse. Yuck. In on the hands. Nice play charging in by Eddie Zahn. Nobody likes to swing at pitches like that. Nobody.
There's a lot of great players, but very few icons.
To be an icon, you have to be good on and off the field. The gold and black is iconic. I just love how they mesh together at the top.
The icon bat is very balanced and light feel, which allows you to trust your barrel. It feels good when you swing it.
Icon's different because the sweet spot felt huge.
The pop, you just throw the bat out and the ball just flies.
If you're an elite player, you'll love the icon.
Being in the wild is the best when you're with your family. We do all kinds of different things at camp. Go fish, surf, dive. I think I'll probably be coming out here the rest of my life.
Hello, Chase Field. It is fun to call you home at the Perfect Game National in July, and then over these 4 or 5 days of the All-American Classic weekend. We will be streaming the Home Run Challenge tomorrow, the early rounds. Excited to bring that to you. That'll get going at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. This game certainly, the All-American Classic, 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday night right here on Perfect Game TV. Say hello to Hunter Watson on the mound, the right-handers from Tuttle, Oklahoma. He goes to Tuttle High School. He's a year younger than some of his mates on this roster. This is a 2026 who is an Oklahoma commit. You see some of the limited work he has done at PG events this summer. And an athlete who we're excited, USA Prime National 15U team. That's who he played for. And he is the son of Casey and Kit. This is Hunter Watson.
Physical guy. He's a two-way player. He's actually a catcher as well, a little bit of a corner infielder, but in addition to being a right-handed arm. But an Oklahoma kid, a Select Fest player in the 14U last year in 2022. Lots to like about the arm strength. He's been into the low 90s with his fastball. Good two-way player.
His foe is Eddie Zahn from Bradenton, Florida, Cardinal Mooney High School at 2025, and the first pitch is rolled foul up the third base line.
Zahn, just look at the uniform there stretching like that's a physical dude, and you can see it in BP too. He was racky tacking balls pull side a couple hours ago when they were swinging.
Margin and Ed, his parents. Brother Brady's 15 years old, and for Zahn, he's got his eyes set on the work, the growth, and the game of Anthony Volpe for the New York Yankees.
Good one to pattern yourself after, especially a guy, not every big leaguer or guy who has high praise that gets to the big leagues is immediately really good. And Volpe is a good example of that. He struggled a little bit, not devastatingly so, but had his ups and downs, and a guy who stuck it out and is now looking like he's going to be maybe a 2020 guy this year, or how it keeps going. But love Volpe. We always have. He was a guy that we made an All-American, an automatic one, didn't even have to think twice about it. Just big fans of Volpe here at Perfect Game.
Zahn, a 14U Select Festival athlete as well, in high school, an all-district team member. Really gives a lot of credit to his parents pushing him as an athlete, supporting him. He's aware of the sacrifices that goes on, Zahn, as he takes inside. And like a lot of these athletes that are, from 13, 14 to 15, now getting older, they'll tell you failure is the biggest thing I'm trying to overcome. Now, if there's struggles at home, something with family and illness, that's much bigger. But as far as baseball, to a man, they will tell you, and it looked like he went around that time. He tried to sell it very well, but they will tell you, like, I dominated at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm learning how to fail.
Yeah. And that's such a pivotal part of the evaluation process. It's such an important part. I can remember as far back as like 10 years ago, Seth, I think you were interviewing me in Jupiter asking me like what I wanted to see from Carlos Cortez or something. And I was like, we want to see him fail because he never has. What does it look like? How does he respond to adversity? And that's such an important part of this, is watching these guys kind of not be the best player in the world for the first time in their lives. And how do they respond to that?
Some of it is game related. Some of it is, as we said, tough stuff at home. Some of it is self-induced. I mean, sometimes they'll bring stuff upon themselves. But how, if you're an elite player and you've worked so hard, do you push your way through it? As that's a strike right down the middle. 91 miles an hour. To Vincent DiCarlo, who gets the call from Tampa Jesuit High School in Florida. He's an NC State commit.
Lots of run on that fastball from Watson, up near 20 inches of horizontal break at times. You can see the way it moves, that sink.
Vincent is the son of Jim and Lourdes. He's the younger brother of Dominic and the older brother of Lorenzo. Some great Italian names in the DiCarlo home.
I was going to say, you think they're Italian?
Vincent DiCarlo. Who, by the way, if you're going to ask him, who do I care about? Who do I learn from? He'll tell you J.T. Real Muto. Loves the way he commands behind the plate, watches his throwing mechanics very closely. He said he has helped me in watching his clips become a better catcher. 2-year varsity letterman his freshman and his sophomore year as he rolls that one foul. And at a school like that at Jesuit, to find your way as a letterman your freshman year, when you're competing in some cases with 18-year-olds for a roster spot.
And Tampa Jesuit's a place where like the JV team would win the state championship in other states. Like that's not even, no kidding. It's so when you're a dude as a freshman there on the varsity, it's saying a lot about something.
Vincent, we'll call him Vinny for this show, in the back of the box. Pretty close to the plate as he spoils a good pitch away.
It's an uncomfortable at bat here facing Watson. Like, that's such a heavy fastball. It's kind of running in on you. It's running down with that sink. It's tough to lift. It's tough to do anything with. It's uncomfortable as a hitter because you're thinking to yourself, like, anything that happens, I'm just going to hit a ground ball.
Didn't mean to that time, and it stays uncomfortable. That foul ball just backed it up.
And credit to Watson for just, like, he just keeps doing it. Like, go ahead, hit it. You know, here's 91. It's sinking. It's in on your hands. Best of luck. I'm not going to change my approach until someone does something against me.
Outside corner. That's strike 3. He stayed after it. 92 is what sent him back to the dugout.
And that's a great spot. That's a perfectly located fastball. We talked about the sinker, you know, moving arm side. That was more of a four-seamer by the shape, and he spotted it perfectly away from a right-handed hitter. Probably the last thing you're looking for there. Great pitch.
I'll always recall the efforts that Perfect Game went to in 2020 to put together the All-American Classic and the Select Festival.
Good changeup.
As he looks at a changeup, and it was all one weekend. 13U, 14U, All-American Classic, all of it at Bricktown Ballpark, home of the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. Everyone was being careful, concerned, and one of the new kids on the block was this young man, Dean Moss, who was a 13U Select Festival athlete. We got to know him. Again, most of them, we didn't see them in their faces. They were wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
But the safety the Perfect Game took on, but the courage to hold events like that. I mean, a lot of these athletes like Moss look back with a big affinity. And especially the uniqueness of that weekend, having a chance to be around the All-Americans like Harry Ford and guys like that.
Absolutely. That was we're going to have memories of that summer for a long time, I think, Darren. Just the how weird it was. There's no coaches out anywhere. You know, there's very few scouts out anywhere. Just kind of desolate ballparks. It was just a weird vibe. But we saw some really good players that year.
It was unique. We thank, in a weird way, all the courage of this company and our new leadership to push forward with launching this network. As that's a pitch over the inside corner, 3-2 the count. It was this network that served all those coaches and parents and grandparents that couldn't travel.
Yep.
And we kind of jumped. We weren't ready, but we jumped into the deep end to do just that.
Yep.
You know? Moss hits it a mile high, looking toward that roof. All right, lose the helmet, stick with it. Nice job. That's Trent. Trent's catching just about all the innings. Young man out of Huntington Beach High School. Grinlinger with the play. That make your brother proud. 6-0 to score. Yeah, we saw a shot in our break here in house of Jackson Holiday. Meantime, his younger brother Ethan Holiday leads things off. And we get to know a man on the mound. Getting the call is Ethan Bigeman, recently a decommitment who is available out there in the recruiting world from Redlands, California, Arrowhead Christian Academy. Clint Toth, his coach there. And he goes to work at 90 miles an hour just off the plate. The son of Dustin and Mandy, working against the #1 player in the nation in the 25 class.
Strong lower half. You can see the kind of drop and drive, really getting into that back hip and riding the slope downhill. Sitting in that 89-90 range to open up. It's a high vert fastball. It's 25 inches of induced vertical and very little horizontal on these fastballs so far. And it kind of gives it away how vertical he gets at release, like how straight vertical that arm stroke is when he's releasing.
Just off the plate, Holiday carefully watching. 3-1 the count. You talk about Jackson Holiday in the year he is having as a pro this year. A 982 OPS in 93 games. He's been moved to Double-A, where the older brother's hitting 352 in Double-A as that one is fouled off. It's kind of been silly because understand this, he's 19 playing in Double-A. He's 5 years younger than the average age. Talking about big brother, Jackson Holiday. And younger brother Ethan takes a breaking ball to tie.
It's another professional at bat, spitting on fastballs that were close and tempting, but not even really thinking about swinging at him, taking the breaking ball. Just, you know, he's really, really good. We have the right guy ranked 1, I think.
Sean Gamble now. Ethan Bingaman against Gamble, another really highly ranked player. There's some dudes back to back to back in this lineup. Gamble, the number 2 player overall. Sean's an interesting one because he still is going through the recruiting process. And it's not like he's trying to clean things up in the classroom or work through that situation. He's just had the courage to wait it out.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. When you're as good, when you're this good, when you're Gamble good, there's no such thing as a time clock offer. You know, you hear about that sometimes where it's like, hey, we're offering you, but you have to commit in 48 hours or it's off the table or whatever. And, you know, say what you will about that as a practice, but when you're that good, that doesn't exist. And this is a good fastball here on the outer third, just kind of under it, which speaks to the vertical break that Bingaman generates. That fastball's really rising, and guys are swinging under it at 87, 88. It that definitely speaks to the quality of the pitch.
Josiah Hartshorn. Hartshorn, 16 and a half years old. And a 6'7", 60, so there's speed there as he skies that one toward the Chase Field roof. Find it, fire that mask away, can't stick with it. And unable to make the play, fighting thing. That's Vincent DiCarlo, Vinny doing the catching right now.
It's tough indoors, even this year. He's that talented. But either way, 15U Canes national kid. Will climb the ladder with them, of course, moving forward. But number 1 player in 26, and I haven't offered a lot of national level thoughts on 26 yet. I just haven't seen the class enough when we're doing the rankings discussions and all that. But you're just being witness to those discussions and the way our guys talk about Emerson and how good he is and the upside here. This is a special talent.
514 career on base, and he's had a perfect day here today against the best players in the country, most of them older than him. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI as well.
Good piece of hitting there. It's a 96-mile-an-hour exit velocity. Not trying to do too much. Just go get it. Yeah, it's 89-mile-an-hour fastball, a little bit up. Hit it hard to the pull side and get yourself another base hit.
Seth Hernandez to hit now. Not a pitcher only, we learn. He started this game. He threw in the mid-90s. He's the number 1 right-handed pitcher in the country. Watch him work, though. He has at PG events, played first, third, in the outfield as well. Runners on the move. Boy, what a beautiful throw, but boxed, unable to hold on to that, and a run will score. Kind of hurried in front of the bag, did his best to. Did Jacob Jordan pop the tag down, but just couldn't get there. That was a bolt throw, though, and a nice one by Cerna.
Yeah, it's a cannon from behind the plate from Cerna. We talked about that. He's got one of the strongest arms defensively in the country, regardless of class, from behind the plate. And, snap throw down, would have had him, too, just couldn't quite come up with it.
Seth skies that one. Cerna says, I've got it, and he does in fair territory. And Seth Hernandez is erased.
Nice work here from Burleson. This is, you got a guy on third there with nobody out. Get that pop up, get another out. Like, this is one of those things that you know, situation that you're in, trying not to let this run score, and regardless of how you feel about like winning the game or whatever in an all-star setting, these are the things we're looking at. Okay, man on third, less than 2 outs. The run can score. The infield's back. You know, what are you going to do as a pitcher to make sure that run doesn't score? Can you get a strikeout here? Can you get a pop-up again?
Ouch.
That didn't feel great.
Breaking ball. He does have some protection on the elbow. Still hurts Bryden Bold, and he will tell you, they all will tell you, the man with the best name in this game, Bryden Bold, trots to first. I'd rather hit. I'd rather hit than hit with my elbow guard. The jersey game, the chain game, it's all good, but he wants to hit.
Got that bright yellow Canes National protector. He's fine. He's fine. We got all that armor on.
Having to back out of the way, Gavin Feen. So when I come back, I don't want to come back as something else. I don't have a spirit animal. I have no desire. I want to be named Bryden Bold when I come back. I mean, come on. Is there any better baseball name?
No, I can't think of one.
And he wears it out there, Bryden Bold. When I was doing my research, I thought, Bryden Bold, how exciting.
With that name, you have to have power. Like, you know, Bull, you got to have power, right? There's baseball names where it doesn't necessarily mean you got to have juice, but that one, you got to have juice, and he does.
You can't be like a softball slapper.
No. You can't be like the speedy small guy. You have to have pop.
On the ground, Bryden will try to break up a double play, and he is unable to do so that time. Nice job getting to the bat. Celebration of baseball here at Chase Field, and it will really take to another level on Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Pacific here in Arizona on Perfect Game TV. It's a preview of the 2024 draft. It's the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Heck, we've seen home runs. We've seen no-hitters. We've seen celebrations, and this is the culmination of travel ball for a lot of these athletes. Not everyone plays in Jupiter, Florida, so the last time some of the best in the country will be together before going off to get back in the classroom for their senior year of high school.
It's always an annual calendar circler, you know, regardless of where you are or what you're doing, you're watching the All-American Classic in late August. And we'll see the best players in 24, of course, this weekend, and we're looking forward to seeing them work out today. Right after this, we're going to roll into that workout. And now we're going to watch Zach Strickland from California. Sud, another California guy for you.
Yeah, he's from Arcadia, California. Strickland is a UCLA commit to play for John Savage. Matadors 2025, one of his travel teams recently at Maranatha. Matt Shepper is his high school coach. He is the son of Adam and Norma, and the big brother to 14-year-old sis Maya. Strickland goes to the mound. Pretty heavily decorated, by the way, the 14U PG Pitcher of the Year, Select Festival participant as well. All CIF, and that basically is a good way of saying all league in California. And bigger leagues, it's an honor to be all CIF. Strickland works as a 4.3 GPA in the classroom, too.
Really, really advanced strike thrower throughout his career so far, and that doesn't always happen for guys that young. Sometimes the strike throwing doesn't come until they're older.
It's a fun game. I'm glad it's here. I look forward to it growing. I'm sure it's going to evolve. Young athletes will see it. How can I be a part of it? How do I earn an invite? It will grow, maybe even morph into more of the All-American weekend. We'll see. Maybe it gets its own weekend at some point.
Yeah, would love that. I'll come out here twice in a row and hang out with you, Sut. No problem.
Omar Cerna. I'm kind of excited. We're producing and editing a feature that we got together with Cerna where we talked baseball, but it was hitting a baseball off a tee. He was going through his tee work, and I was the man who was feeding the tee. I was the coach, and the questions had nothing to do with baseball. It was working off a tee, seeing it hit it off and out of the ballpark at East Cobb, and then talking about life, talking about his family. So excited to share that with you on Perfect Game TV. This is a big personality, a big presence.
Big tools, big talent, too, to match.
Good fastball. Hello there. What a way to introduce yourself to the game. Meet Zach Strickland.
Great. He kind of just set him up there. He was diving on the corners with the fastball, mixed in a breaking ball, and then fastball up and away. That's a great sequence, great way to start it. Just keep rolling. As he tries for the save here in what is a save situation. Didn't look like we were going to have that early, but the Nationals fought back enough to make this a more competitive game than the way it started. I believe it was a 6-0 lead for the American at one point, the 4th inning.
It was. It was good to see a little bit of the old-fashioned Brian come out, the modern man. Things like wins and saves, which none of us hardly ever talk about anymore. So well done by you. That's the young Tigers fan in you talking.
It loved Todd Jones.
That's exactly who I thought of was Todd Jones, my old college foe. I never was quite as good as him. I'd pitch at Auburn Montgomery. He pitched at Jacksonville State, and he beat us a lot. What a career he had.
Absolutely.
So Zach Strickland, by the way, is the number 7 ranked right-handed pitcher in the country. He is a Select Festival alum, as we said, and that is a screamer from Nyans. Right back through the box and a base hit into center field. I'll let you give that number.
108 on the exit velocity. I almost jumped out of the press box there, folks. I stood up and started pointing. 108 miles an hour on that turned around from Nyans. It is very, very special offensively, in my opinion. I've been saying that repeatedly. That's, oh boy.
108 miles an hour off the bat on a line drive into center field as he deals now with Quentin Young. Single and a run scored, also struck out. Want to say hello to Dimitri Young, Uncle Dimitri.
Speaking of former Tigers greats.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Love the meat hooks. That one's popped up to the right side. Got room, he is told, and he does. Our good friend Bryden Bowl makes the play over there. If your name is Bryden Bowl, you make that play every time.
You have to. You have to. You got to live up to the name. You got to live up to the name. And he's done so.
He's got great lettuce, too,
Yes,
doesn't
he
he, coming out of the back of that hat?
He's a fun player. It's a really fun player.
Couple of outs. This is Alex Harrington. In his own right, a very fun player. Enjoy Alex, enjoy his family, getting to know them through the years. Excited to see the Cathedral Catholic player here. San Diego area. That's an easy 92. Boom, right off the fingertips. Spin rate of chasing 2,500.
He's just cruising here. I know Nyans turned him around there pretty violently, but that hasn't mattered. He's still just kind of painting. It's 88, 91. It's up to 92. There's some quality on that fastball. You talked about the spin already. He gets good vertical break. We've seen a good slider. He's in control and filling it up and commanding. Just all kinds of things to like here.
Again, chasing 2,500 on the spin with that fastball at 92 miles an hour. Hey, tip your cap at 108. That means I threw you a strike. I'm not walking you. I'm coming after you. Two great athletes matching up there. A breaking ball and a good one. It's a pop-up to the right side, and that will do it. It is in the books. You can say goodbye this year as Mason Greenhouse makes the play. The future so bright with these athletes. 25s and 26s. Can't wait to see many of them as PG All-Americans. And congratulations to both rosters, to all the families, to the athletes for earning the right to be here. Brian, the first one was a great one.
Yeah, that was really fun, Darren. I didn't expect anything other than that. You get this level of talent together, this collection of players, and they're going after each other, and you're seeing best on best in a lot of ways. And for me, like I said in the open, I hadn't seen several of these guys yet. This was my first look at a lot of these guys, so just very, very excited about it. I can't wait to see how this is going to continue to grow as we move forward with it, and it was just awesome to be a part of.
Want to remind everyone, if you enjoyed watching this, maybe you hopped online, we're glad you did so. But go ahead and get the app, the brand new app, Perfect Game TV app, and add it to your collection. We know you might be streaming from some of the great streaming platforms, but you go ahead and do so. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, coming soon to Amazon Prime as well. But get the app on your smart device, on that beautiful 90-inch TV like Brian has at home in his living room. Get the Perfect Game TV app. Alongside our great producer, director, and leader of all things creativity and operation, Steve Banta, who built a great team here in Phoenix, Arizona, and the help of the Arizona Diamondbacks and all the work they've done, the leadership at the VP level of Scott Geyer, Vice President of Broadcasting, Rob Weinheimer in-house doing some amazing things. My partner, Brian Sikowski, I love working with him. Without he and his scout mates,